You can.
Okay.
All right. So Wendy is a daughter of immigrant parents with a degree in exercise physiology and a background in traditional healthcare as a physician's assistant for 14 years. When she became a mom, she discovered her passion for preventative care and living a more vibrant lifestyle. Her personal development journey includes bodybuilding, where she started off as a novice competitor in 2015 and achieved a three-time world champion recognition. She loves traveling with family and friends, photography, and personal development. Today, Wendy will be sharing about protein, the power of protein pacing.
Yay!
Awesome.
Can I try it too? I don't care where I sit. I think I'm gonna be right.
Oh,
Use the handle. Okay, you can do that too.
Am I in
You're in
right
you.
smack in the middle?
yeah.
You're good.
All right, so my talk is called protein pacing, and what that means is eating the right type, amount, and timing of protein in order to lose fat, gain muscle, increase energy, and boost mood. And if that's boring to you already, I have pictures, so don't worry. Keep you entertained. It's not working.
Sometimes they take a nap.
Oh, I'm frozen. Okay. All right. So the common thinking is eat less. I just have to eat less and exercise more, right? Like that's generally what people are thinking. Yes. The issue with that is that the current exercise and nutrition recommendations are often too time consuming. They're too confusing to follow. They're extreme and pretty much unrealistic for the majority of the population. For example, 90 minutes of exercise daily is the current exercise recommendation. I'm like, who has time for that? Even when I was competing, I did not, that was a chore. So it's no wonder that less than 20% of the US population achieves this on a regular basis. So in comes Dr. Paul Arciero. He is an exercise scientist at Skidmore College, and he's had 30 plus years of research on this. So he's dedicated the majority of his, like over half of his life, to nutrition, exercise, human physiology, and how that all works together. And he came up with this protocol out of his own necessity because he was working two jobs at the current time at the time. He was running his own lab as one job, and then he was only getting paid for one thing. So the other job was he was a tennis coach for that college, for the tennis team. So he was working during the day, seeing his lab patients, and then also he had to stay physically active with his tennis team. And he also had two kids and one on the way. So he needed something that was going to be simple and effective for busy people. So he came up with Fry's protocol. And that is an acronym for protein pacing, resistance training, interval training, stretching, and endurance training. And I'm just going to talk about the food portion. In his research, he found that his research subjects had an adherence rate of 80%, which is a lot. Huge. Yeah, that's insane. And the participants were saying it's easy to follow, it's fun, has variety, it's time efficient, people still get to be social, you can customize it, it's flexible, and it consistently produces results. And here are some of the ladies that I know. That's her roommate.
Yes.
So why do we need protein? It's essential for muscle repair and growth. It supports physical health and recovery. It fuels normal production of enzymes and hormones. It provides amino acids for our immune system to fight infections. It supports healthy hair, skin, and nails. It aids in feeling of fullness and regulating metabolism, which is crucial for weight management. And did you know that we lose a quarter to a half a pound of muscle per year after the age of 25?
That's huge.
Which I'm hoping is everyone in this group. in this room. I don't know about Kristen. Yes.
Yes.
45. Yeah, okay, good. So Dr. Paul says, it's actually eating more of the high quality foods and exercising smarter, not harder and not longer. And this is my friend Dana and his daughter Julia. They both have lost 100 pounds each and have kept it off following the protein pacing protocol. So what is that? Protein pacing, feel free to take screenshots, by the way, because I know I'm going to go through this. Protein pacing is 4 to 5 protein paced meals per day. You're spreading out those meals every 3 to 4 hours. And each meal is anywhere from 25 to 50 grams of protein, depending on your goal weight. The first meal is ideally done within 1 hour of waking, and the last meal is within 2 hours of bedtime. You're also having healthy carbohydrates, which will help regulate blood sugar levels and insulin levels, and healthy fats, because they're great for decreasing inflammation, enhancing brain and nerve function, and they serve as an energy source. So to look at it a little bit in more detail, how much protein should we be having ideally in a day? So 0.7 to 1 gram of protein per pound of ideal body weight. So if we have a 150-pound person, they're aiming for 100 to 150 grams of protein per day. And in the special considerations, it says if you're adding exercise. I love that because you can actually achieve really cool weight physique changes just by changing your nutrition. But if you decide to add exercise, just add in 25 grams immediately after your session. And for individuals 60 plus years old, aim for the higher end of that range. So maybe a gram of protein per body weight. So here are some examples of what 20 grams or 25 grams of protein would look like. I think if you're on Zoom, you have a better view of what this is, but for example, this is 3 ounces of chicken, 4 ounces of salmon. It would be 4 large eggs, lentils, black beans. Well, I don't think you're going to eat 5 tablespoons of peanut butter, but
Why not?
I was gonna say, I mean, last night was a tough night. Tough night.
You can do 1 1/4 cup of Greek yogurt, 1 cup of liquid egg whites, 3 ounces of ground turkey, and it depends because I've put thise things into my fitness pal and it depends on who inputs the information.
Mhm.
You could have 3 ounces of chicken and they'll tell you for one entry could be it's 21 grams of protein and another one says it's 30 grams. I'm like, I don't know. As long as you're consistent is the answer. So now that I've shown you some food, some people are like, well, that's great, but I don't have time or energy or money to purchase these foods or let alone prepare all of these foods every meal. It's a full-time job. And I appreciate that. And so Dr. Paul Arciero says, we can combine high quality foods, whole foods with nutrient dense engineered protein powders and bars, which is like, no one really ever says that because they're like, well, what's in it? So he says, just do your due diligence and look at the ingredients. If you can tolerate those ingredients, great. Like some people have more preferences or dietary needs. So as long as it has a nutrient dense profile, it's good. I'm going to share 3 examples, so feel free to screenshot or take a picture. And so this is protein pacing for the goal of health, for the goal of fitness and performance. So for example, this is a woman who's 130 pounds, 44 years old. This is not necessarily her. And she's fit. He created this meal plan, if you will, or schedule, and it'll allow her to get in over 100 grams of protein in a day over 5 different meals, different meal times. And really, the only meal that she has to prepare could be a dinner. I mean, you can interchange any of these meals for whatever your schedule is like, but most people like to have a meal at home in the evening. That's like a fourth meal, but you can see he's arranged for protein powders, and you can add adaptogens to it. You can add fruits and veggies to it, just to add variety and some bulk. So here is the second example for a man who is 240 pounds, 58 years old. He has type 2 diabetes. We're able to get him 200 grams of protein in a day spread over 4 meals.
That's a lot.
Right. So some people, I don't know if, I mean, my husband, who's a physician, is like, have a lot of protein, you're gonna damage your kidneys. And Dr. Paul Arciero says that we actually can tolerate more protein than we've thought in the past. He's looked through all the research, and he said there's no scientific evidence that 50 grams of protein is harmful for someone who has healthy kidneys.
It's not like the whole Atkins diet like 20 years ago or 30 years ago where you eat all protein, right?
Yeah,
Right.
that was no carbs.
That was
Right,
zero
so,
carbs.
right, so this does include carbs, it does include adaptogens, so it's a good point. And then the third example is protein pacing for just body optimization in general. So, if you took a woman who's 180 pounds, 54 years old, considered obese, again, 4 different meal times and able to get in 150 to 160 grams of protein in the day. And again, basically just one meal that she has to fully prepare.
What are adaptogens?
Oh, we'll get to
Or
that.
am I,
We'll get
sorry.
to that.
So happy you asked.
Yeah, so this is a visual example of protein, an example of protein pacing if you wanted to spread it out over 6 meals, but you can almost replace up to 2 to 3 meals a day with nutrient dense protein powders and have one sit down meal if you'd like to. Each protein shake meal has ideally 24 to 50 grams of protein. Again, you can bump up the protein with peanut butters, avocado, whatever. This is a mother and daughter transformation with protein pacing. So protein stimulates metabolism 8 times more than fat would, and 2.5 times more than carbs do. And it also allows for enhanced muscle repair and building lean muscle. Protein is great at satisfying hunger as well. And it's not just for weight loss, but also for muscle gain. So this protocol can be adapted to different goals. And you guys may have heard stuff about injectable weight loss or medical weight loss, which is super popular now, and it's effective. You can't deny that. Usually the duration is over a year long. People are losing weight, an average of 30 pounds in that time period, but 40% of that is coming from lean body mass, which is, counterproductive, right? So Dr. Paul had done some studies. He did this study on the left. The dotted line is protein pacing, showing protein pacing weight loss by week 13. Same thing, and he compared it to the heart healthy diet, which is the dotted line. They both groups lost weight by week 13, but he extended the study out to a year. And over the course of the year, the heart healthy group started to creep back up just because it's harder to adhere to. Whereas the protein pacing people found that it was just simple and, it fit into their daily lives. And here on the right chart, it shows the medicated weight loss. Yes, there is progressive weight loss for the duration of the prescription, but once people come off it, they're regaining it when they are done with it. So this paper, Dr. Paul Arciero, his work has been downloaded enough times to rank within the top 10% of published papers, which is pretty interesting because it shows that people are really interested in seeing what this is about. So he said his study was on intermittent fasting and protein pacing, superior to caloric restriction for weight and visceral fat loss. So, so intermittent fasting, he talks about intermittent fasting, and metabolism is the sum of all chemical reactions to maintain body functions at rest, and especially protecting us against toxins. And intermittent fasting helps the body restore, replenish, and heal. And there are some recent studies that show that it can slow down the aging process as well too, which is great. So some of the other benefits of intermittent fasting: boosting immune system, supporting the digestive system, heart health, managing stress, combating free radicals, fat burning, all that good stuff. And there are different types of intermittent fasting. A lot of people can confuse it with or refer to intermittent fasting, but it's more time restricted eating, which means that you can fast for 16 hours and then just you have an 8-hour eating window. So that's somewhat popular. Dr. Paul Arciero studied the 5-2 method and the 24 fast method in his studies. The 5-2 method is 5 days of protein pacing and then 2 days of fasting, or the 24-hour fast method, which is just having less than 500 calories in a 24-hour period. There's also an alternate day fasting. So the two in the middle, because he studied it, he felt that the middle two options provided the best environment for the best results. And this is on the right, a woman who was doing the 48-hour intermittent fasting and her results with that. So pretty crazy just watching the midsection change. So because on those intermittent fasting days, you're taking in less than 500 calories, he says that what the calories are made up of can make or break the effectiveness of fasting. So he recommends having antioxidants and adaptogens in there. And this is not an exhaustive list whatsoever, but antioxidants are fantastic for lots of different things. So anti-cancer properties, really good for eye health, brain health, cardiovascular health, and adaptogens. Adaptogens are plants that are grown in harsh environments, and they help us adapt to environmental stresses, which is great. So to recap, protein pacing plus intermittent fasting with antioxidants and adaptogens. This protocol is designed for the busy individual for long-term results by way of body optimization, maintaining lean muscle mass, decreasing visceral fat, and improving cardiovascular health markers. So if you're curious about where you are with your protein requirements or recommendations for the day, you can certainly do the math or you can reach out to me. The book that Dr. Paul Arciero wrote, it's kind of sciencey, but I like how he has the other exercise components in it. So I actually brought that, but it's called the Protein Pacing Diet. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out.
Can I ask you some questions?
Yes.
So a lot of times you mentioned protein powders, and a lot of the protein powders, there's whey base, there's a whole plant-based, soy, pea, whatever. Do you have because there's like a couple parts of the question. So over the years, I've done different protein powders. Is there a better protein that can be better assimilated? It's hard to tell sometimes if you're really eating just mostly filler or if it's really quality protein. I don't know if you have thoughts on
Yeah.
Keep protein really the best, or it should just be whey.
So whey is better assimilated in the body than plants, but for people who choose to go plant-based, there are really good plant-based blends that will have more amino acids mixed into it. So yeah, there are some really good clean options out there.
And I think the other thing too is the cholesterol, like I noticed on some a while ago, and I my blood work done and my cholesterol was like off the, I have eggs, we could discuss that. So I'm already eating some eggs already. And I remember being like, this is, the only difference was this protein powder I've been taking. And then I was like really afraid to take more of it because it was just increasing my level of cholesterol. And what are your thoughts? I mean, there's some thoughts about like good cholesterol, it doesn't matter how high it is, there's this arbitrary number that the pharmaceutical industry is just kind of put on us, like we should be on all sorts of cholesterol lowering things when really it's totally fine.
Yeah, when you have a more balanced diet, you'll have more of the plant, the vegetables and the plant sterols, which help with clearing the cholesterol too. So as long as you have a mixed diet and you're moving somewhat.
Right.
it's
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
Okay. That's all the questions. I might have more.
Well, and something that I've started to do, because my husband's cholesterol is slightly elevated, so he's on a mission to prove to the doctors that he doesn't need a pill.
Sure.
And he eats a ton of eggs. So he's gone off the eggs for a while. And is doing the oatmeal.
Yeah.
So when he cooks the oatmeal, if he cooks it for me too, I add protein powder to it.
Yeah, I've done.
Because I like having that extra protein that'll keep me for a long time during the day.
I used to not eat my eggs. I used to get until like I went completely organic.
Mm.
I'd eat my own eggs, but I used to have, I don't know, there's something up with it. So I did eat my own eggs for the longest time, where I ate them once a week. And then I had oatmeal with protein powder, and that was, I had great cholesterol, except when I came across this other protein powder. And then my husband was like, you should be at your worst. You show up at the doctor's office. You know, I would always be prepping for my best. Everybody's not having cheese. We're not doing pizza. We're not having whatever, and it's vegetables and beans
I go
and
with
brown
it
rice.
myself.
And hunker down. And my husband's like, no, eat whatever you want. Go do, and then do as you do, and then show up, and then find out. No, that, and he's totally like, he's got a beer belly, but that's about it.
But
Like,
I
he's
say you
fine
go in as
you
you are, otherwise you don't know if
Right.
you're,
You don't want to prep.
if you
for it.
need to change anything.
I'm like,
So I have a
Type A.
question.
Yep.
Like especially thinking back to like when you first started all this journey, like how did you get your body to want to eat that much protein?
It takes a
Because
while.
I gotta say, like, I've started adding protein to things, like you were just saying, I've been adding a scoop of protein to like a non-flavored veggie one
Mhm.
to soups. Because all of us need more protein in my house. And it's like, Joe and I can't even finish a bowl of soup anymore because it's like so filling. And then I'm like, well, are we still hitting the same friggin' problem? You know what I mean?
Well, I'm not eating.
Because now we can't eat it.
You can add it to your coffee.
But yeah, we add all sorts of.
I do the
I
hot
find that
chocolate
sitting
at
and eating
night.
5 times a day is not
Yeah.
easy.
Five
Yeah,
times.
I have a hard time
Yes.
eating more than like
I have-
3 times.
I have trouble with
Yeah,
it
I
5
do.
times a day.
Yeah, 5 is a lot. So, I mean, that's why the beauty of protein shakes, it's like less calories, but
Yeah.
still more of the macros. So, it does take time to
Like,
work up
do
to
you
it.
make your protein smoothies like more watery because of that? Cause I feel like if I'm drinking, you know, like, cause you know how they can be watery and then you can make them thick if you add ice and whatever. And so like, if it's thinner, obviously
It's
it's easier
easier,
to consume.
And I've noticed that when you move more, then you're like, you're hungrier more, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I was like, "Oh, I want to eat. I was like, yeah, let's go.
Yeah, yeah,
Hungry.
I like my protein shakes thinner,
yeah.
and then you get more water in your body too.
Yeah,
by doing it that way.
And then that's the other thing with like a ton of water, so, yeah.
So that's gonna,
Filling your body.
yeah, and so you won't be as hungry if you're just drinking a ton of water.
Yes.
So I would just add like anytime you change anything in your health, do it slowly.
Yeah.
Don't do things dramatically
right.
because it won't stick and you will not feel good.
Right.
You need to do things slowly. And also, I would say that, you know, having real eggs and stuff like that, like real food, even though there's cholesterol in eggs, our bodies need cholesterol.
We need
and
it,
our
yeah.
brain-
Yeah.
So most people have high cholesterol from either, genetics or eating food that is in the pantry, that is
Right.
processed, and that is, your body is creating that.
I have a functional doctor now, whereas I had a Western doctor.
Mm.
And they were kind of like, they were horrified, and this guy was like, your ratios are totally.
Yeah, It does,
Thank
it
God,
is like
but
looking at the ratios.
I'm not going crazy. I'm just
Yeah.
doing
Yeah.
what I'm
And
doing.
I think statistics can often like
You're not yelling.
freak people out, right? Like, oh my God. And these arbitrary numbers that
Just
someone or
someone
some
dreamt it up.
company,
Right.
you know, like, so they, not that.
We're not
you know,
saying anything, but,
Here, you need these meds, they'll
Yes.
take your numbers
oh,
down,
for sure.
what else is gonna happen?
Yeah.
So, yeah. But I say don't do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think they're bad.
Yeah,